Okay, so blame YouTube for this one because it's their fault 100% right now. We are starting later than I'd like to have started. Something came up at the last minute, so I ended up doing some things after something work related. We'll put it that way. I'd like to say it was something else, but I can't. So I'll be honest with you guys because I'm always going to be honest with you guys. That's the reason why we're starting late. Welcome to another edition of the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast, exclusively here on the Popcast Network. My name is Owen. Joining me as always is Ashley.
How to do?
Yeah, this is Wednesday has become the Ashley show. That's just how it works nowadays. Because my work schedule is really like flippant. My running schedule is really flippant. So it's kind of like, I don't have time to do anything anymore. So basically, every single week here on the network, Ashley gets to dissect all the various things that are going on in the wrestling business currently. So since we didn't do Monday,
this week we actually need to dissect two matches that you really should have seen because they were that good. In fact, to be honest, three.
I wish I could have. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
So we got WWE stuff tonight, talking about Raw, Smackdown, 205 Live, Mixed Match Challenge, NXT, UFC and mixed martial arts news, maybe Bellator. Don't know exactly what's going on with that.
No, there's no Bellator for at least another couple of weeks till we get to actual big stuff again.
Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact. Say goodbye to JB, and we'll get to that later. Indies and everything else under the sun, like it says on the description that I'm going to put up in a minute, but I had to rush and make sure we got done early, so that's the reason why it's not up there yet. All this and more tonight on the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast, even though it's almost Thursday when I'm starting this, which means by the time we're done, we can say welcome to February.
Yeah, well, I'm already there because, time travel.
Yeah, time travel, yeah.
So, we start off with Stephanie because, of course, we do because it's Raw. Finally, she does bring out Asuka, and Asuka basically says, no one's ready for me. I'll be a champion at Mania. Although Stephanie does add in, you might not want to decide on who you're facing yet, considering Alexa Bliss is defending the Raw Women's title in the first ever Women's Elimination Chamber match. On that logic, I'm guessing it's probably Alexa, Sasha, Bailey, Mickey, and Absolution, because that's all that's left.
Nia.
Who would you throw out then?
I mean, there doesn't need to be anybody from Absolution in it. There's no one that's worth anything.
They'll have to be because clearly Paige was going to be in it.
No, that's why you replace her with Nia Jax. It's not really a fair trade, but that's just how it's.
There's nobody else on the Raw Women's roster, is there?
Not really.
Unless you throw Ronda in it, which I think would be a mistake.
No, you don't want to use her yet.
So Sasha comes out and says, I went 50 plus minutes last night. Sure, I didn't win, but I've never faced Asuka. She says no one's ready for her. I think I am. So Stephanie's like, okay. So then we're starting off with the qualifiers. So we've got Matt Hardy versus Elias, Finn Balor versus Cena coming up. But first, Kane versus Braun in a last man standing match. And as I put in my notes, this was a squash match, practically. When we came back from break, the match is already underway. We didn't even get a Kane entrance. And the brawl went all around ringside. I guess it must have started in the ring during their ads, but went all around ringside. And then went up the ramp and towards the commentary position. And Kane got running power slammed down onto the floor, like in front of the commentary desk. which if you look at how it is, it's on an elevated sort of platform on wheels. Braun gets rid of all the commentary. By the way, coach was actually not too bad. I'd say it's first night jitters and nerves, the fact that they didn't fully gel.
But he got some things wrong too, apparently.
Yeah, but you know, for first night with like,
Yeah,
let's
but
say
as a
24 hours
commentator,
notice.
do your homework, man. Seriously, it doesn't take very long
He's
to
an
like do some
ESPN
homework.
reporter. He doesn't do homework.
As a commentator, I always made sure. I mean, I knew anyway, but I always made sure to know like some of the things before going in to
Again,
shows, so I didn't
he
appear like an
worked
idiot.
at ESPN. You don't do that at ESPN.
Apparently not.
You just do whatever shit you want to. So they flee. Braun lifts the stage and pushes it onto Kane. So not as impressive as a bloody truck, but still, you know. The referee looks in and he's just like, ring the bell, I'm calling it. It's like he didn't even give him the chance to get up at 10 because it was obvious he wasn't. So Corey gets a mic and basically asks Braun why so vicious and all that. And Braun said, Kurt made it a last man standing match. I made sure that the other man wouldn't be standing. That's what I did. That's what I did, he says. And it's like, God, if only we changed it to that's what I do. It would be like, not to Mark Henry there. So they're recapping it. And Kane's apparently being taken to hospital and having trouble breathing as they're wheeling him away. Adam Pearce is pissed. Dave Finlay is also pissed. And Kurt finds Braun backstage and he's just like, we don't want this anymore. You know, think about stopping all of this. You know. And Braun's just sort of thinking quizzically and going, you know what? You're right. I'd have hurt him further. You said last man standing. I'm the last man standing. I'm also going to be the last man standing at the Chamber, and I'm going to be the last man standing at Mania beating Brock Lesnar. Great thing is the commentators are now on stick mics because they're still trying to set up the table and everything in the actual commentator's desk for them at ringside now because of what happened last week. Which leads us into Elias versus Woken Matt, which was all right. Bray sort of interfering late on, cutting sort of in and out of his darkness, which distract Matt enough to allow Elias to give him a good old boot to the face, big boot style, and hit him with a drift away. And Elias wins and leaves, and Matt's recovering in the ring, and Bray comes on the screen, and he's just laughing. And that's it. Then, because this is the new trend, social media promos. So we got Miz on Instagram saying, you know, he's owed a lot of respect for bringing the division back to the glory that it once had. And when he wins tonight, he'll be wanting a standing ovation for his win, just like the Patriots will be getting for beating the Eagles at the Super Bowl on Sunday, which, of course, you know, we're in Philly, cheap heat.
Of course.
We then have Mix Max Challenge promos for Sammy and Becky talking about, you know, the ginger snaps and everything. And, of course, Braun and Alexa are like, you know, no, you're not ginger snaps. You're just going to be snapped. Brilliant promos and everything from Braun and Alexa. We'll get to them. One thing to note as well here, we had new graphics for Raw. I guess because 25 years and whatever. I really like the presentation now of the graphics and the logos and everything. A lot more sort of, I don't know, in the right presentation compared to the previous ones. So Miz and Roman come out. JoJo makes the introductions. As you'd expect, because it's Miz and Roman, they have a really good match. Roman scared off the Miztourage early on, but then they played on the fact that Roman tweaked his knee at some point mid-on in the match. So towards the end, Miz went for the turnbuckle uncovering again like last week, but the ref stopped it. But as he pulled Roman away, because obviously he was trying to pull Roman away, Miz got a thumb to the eye, skull crushing finale, 1, 2, Roman kicks out. So then the Miztourage come back out. So of course Roman uses his opportunity for, I think, Superman punch on Axel, I think, and a spear on Dallas because somehow they got into the ring.
Makes sense.
But Miz used this opportunity to roll up Roman, get the 3 count, and Miz retains.
It's good they're putting Miz over strong, basically because they're setting him up for Braun Strowman at Mania.
That's what I fear.
I don't want that, but that's what they're setting up.
Because it should be Lesnar. If you want that crowd in New Orleans to be satisfied, give them Braun getting... Because Braun has been pushed, but not to the same extent of Roman. It's sort of been a natural push ever since he went solo as a singles competitor. He proved his dominance because of his size and everything. And he's got over with the crowd, you know, from being somebody that's supposed to be a heel to just being sort of a badass that, you know, is actually liked by the fans. It's also helped by his other antics on Mixed Match Challenge. But again, we'll get to that. Heyman basically commented on Twitter that on the Elimination Chamber stipulation, how, you know, the winner will have to suffer the chamber and then have to suffer the beast and all that. You know, good line and everything. So now we've got Revival versus Heath Slater and Rhino. Relatively quick match. Revival winning with the Shatter Machine as they usually do. Then, interestingly, after they're in the ring and says, "Look," because Charlie doesn't really get to interview them. They sort of interview themselves with her sort of involving herself. It's like, we just beat the first ever SmackDown Tag Team Champions. We're on the same level of the Graham brothers. What do you think of the Graham brothers, Charlie? And she's like, I'm afraid I'm not very well aware of them. And it's like, of course you are. All you and these fans care about is getting yourselves over by chanting EC dub and knowing the true greats from wrestling. We learn from the past, but the fans can't stop living in the past. So as a comeback from the beatdown from DX last week, that's actually a pretty strong comeback, if you think about it.
Yeah. They weren't made to look like, well, they were made to look like fools, but the thing is they got their heat back.
Yeah.
Which is good because you don't need to bury one of the only like real tag teams you have on the Raw tag brand.
And again, they're playing up the fact of obviously the fans living in the past because, oh, look, DX are here at the Manhattan Center as a one-off thing, but they're going to be there every week until one of them gets injured and then it fucks everything up. By the way, as of Monday, 69 days to WrestleMania. Then they have the Hall of Fame video package for the Dudley Boys. Wasn't as good as the one for Goldberg. In all honesty, it just seemed like, just a random highlight package with them saying, "Oh, this move," and then a minute of "Oh, this move," and not like interesting stuff. And obviously, like they obviously couldn't show that much of the controversial stuff they did back in, was it Detroit? That heat wave?
Dayton. I was
Dayton,
there.
Ohio. There we go.
Heat Wave 99. I was there. where they almost ignited a riot for shooting on the crowd in the front row.
Yeah.
That was against Balls and Spike.
I just saw that clip afterwards, sort of where we watch the wrestling and whatever, or where I watch it anyway. And
it's totally there.
Balor and the club do a Twitter promo on Cena. Then Renee with Sasha and says, "I can't wait to end Asuka's undefeated streak." And so she basically goes out because they play the music. Sasha Banks versus Asuka. The bits that you've probably seen on Twitter, Owen, are Sasha going for the dive and basically landing headfirst on the mat.
Yeah, it's probably something she shouldn't be doing anymore.
Aside from that, this was a really, really good match. Both were giving it their all. Asuka attempted the Asuka lock a few times, but couldn't get it on. Sasha got the bank statement once, but Asuka managed to get to the ropes or escape. I can't remember. The finish, though, came with another bank statement, but Asuka sort of pushed off the ropes, reversed out of it into an Asuka lock, and Sasha has to tap. But as I noted, that to me is the best women's match I've seen on Raw in years. And proves why, at least on the Raw brand, they're probably the two strongest that are in there right now.
Makes sense.
Now we've got John Cena's Twitter promo, except he can't be asked to do it on his own, so he does it on WWE's Twitter account. So now we've got the Bar versus Titus Worldwide. Absolutely no Seth Rollins or Jason Jordan on the show tonight, so they got a night off. Completely.
Well, Jordan makes sense because he's hurt.
Yeah. The Bar retained with their double team move on, I think, Titus. But I love the fact that because they'd beaten them twice, somehow they were considered tag team contenders, even though it wasn't for the tag team titles beforehand. So then they show a Twitter statement from Alexa Bliss, in text rather than video, saying that she doesn't mind making history by, defending the title in the chamber. And then the update on Kane. Apparently, he sat up in the ER and crawled his way out the hospital and hasn't been seen since. Vote Quimby for mayor. So then we get Balor versus Cena. Again, another really good match. But of course, Cena wins, lol. Super attitude adjustment off the second rope of the turnbuckle. I sort of understand because they're trying to plant the whole seed of Cena's going to WrestleMania. But realistically, I don't think he needs to. In all honesty. But there was at least 2 or 3 good matches on it that you should try and see in full, because they'll be somewhere on the internet.
I'm so behind this week.
No, but it's just because the WWE only do like 2 or 3 minutes of a match, don't they? By the way, worth mentioning here, Ronda Rousey's debut, at least on the WWE's YouTube page, has a third less views than Rey Mysterio showing up at the Rumble.
Wow.
Probably tells you that, wrestling fans really don't give a shit about Ronda.
We'll see what happens.
At the minute. At the minute. Into Smackdown. So this opened with basically Nakamura, basically saying, kick face, just weird shit like that. Knee to face. And then Kevin showed up and said, but the actual facts of the matter is, you can try to say you're going to beat AJ all you want, but we were screwed out of the title, and they recapped the fact that obviously Kevin didn't tag and everything. Yeah, AJ pinned the wrong man. Nakamura was just like, AJ was the winner, you loser. Or you are losers. But AJ says, look, you can cry and complain all you want, but there'll be a dream match in New Orleans on the grandest stage of them all. And, why not we do a dream team now and have me and Shinsuke face you two tonight? And they leave the ring, then come back and says, if you really want this match, nope. And then they walk off. And then they find Daniel Bryan backstage and says, look, we need to talk to you about this. And Daniel goes, look, he can't set matches up, but I can. So I'm doing it. And Sammy says, look, this is as bad as the blown call on Sunday. And Daniel's like, look, the ref's decision's final. He made a mistake. And Kevin's like, this isn't a mistake. This is a life-altering catastrophe. And Daniel was like, yeah, you do deserve another opportunity. Which is why next week, whoever wins faces AJ Styles at Fastlane. And it's going to be Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. And of course, both of them are like, oh, God. So now Bobby Roode is on commentary because it's time for Kofi Kingston, Jinder Mahal, Rusev, and Zack Ryder in a four-way. The winner getting a shot at the US title next week. Which, thankfully, Rusev wins. Although apparently for about 3 or 4 minutes, they were arsing about with Big E just keep throwing pancakes at Corey Graves. Eventually, it got to the point when basically Aiden grabbed Sunil because he stopped Rusev's dive to the outside. And then Sunil got pushed into what was remaining of the tray of pancakes. And then the referee was just like, sod it, you're all gone to the back. You're out of here. But then, of course, Rusev won with the accolade on Kofi. So then he gets in Rude's face at the end. So that's the most important thing. So then they talk about the fashion files. Because apparently they were taking over social media today, although they weren't actually. And Gable and Benjamin come in and says, why is this still a thing? What you're doing to the tag team division is embarrassing. And Breeze is just like, oh, well, is losing twice to the Usos embarrassing? And then Shelton's like, well, can you beat us? And then Connor says, they've got this. So once again, it's like each one trying to put the other sort of like over. And then we get to, oh, shit. And this is where I need to get a prop I forgot that I needed. So I'm trying to look around for the equivalent thing. Okay, I haven't got it. That's a shit. So this is where I need to do. Oh, screw it. I can probably half-arse the thing. So we come to the Usos. And the Usos cut one of the weirdest promos I've pretty much ever seen. That was cobbled together in 30 seconds.
Most confusing sounds I'm hearing right now in my headset.
It's called pen. Making something. So, he's all like, it's a city of brotherly love. Show love to your champs. We all said we're going to get silly up in Philly, and we beat the guys. So we've been tearing through the tag team division since they arrived. American Alpha, locked down. American Alpha 2, locked down. Hype Bros, locked down. Breezango, locked down. New Day, locked down. Hell, we even beat the Bar, even though they're on the other brand. So you know what? Locked down. Yeah.
Wow.
What I'm trying to symbolize by this, they literally put like Windows Movie Maker style prison bars across the screen. You need to see the promo, Owen, just to see how tacky and fucking 90s it looked. It was terrible. Oh. So it's like, we're going to be tag team champs forever. And then here come the Bludgeon Brothers. They are facing the jobber team of East Coast Wrestling Association champion Chris Wilde and Rory Gulak. Yes.
Little Mondo?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Amazing. The one thing I did like was Drew tweeted, "Man, I'd hate to be facing the Bludgeon Brothers next."
That's funny.
Yeah, they won with the T gimmick on Gulak as well. So
again, I support the fact that someone's using the T gimmick.
So then, interestingly, Daniel says we're looking for new ways to build interest and introduces the Smackdown Top 10, where the wrestlers will get to choose who's in the top 10. And basically, Shane and Daniel have no say in the matter, and that the wrestlers can't pick themselves either.
Interesting.
So now
WWE has become Survivor.
WWE has become TNA.
It's become TNA now, yeah.
Literally because of Boris.
We'll get to that later.
And EC3. And possibly Leslie.
We'll get to that later.
So Shane McMahon's in his office talking about the Rumble, and Ty Dillinger comes in and says, "I want to talk about the top 10. I wonder why. But you got something else to talk about, and it was basically how he lost his chance at the Rumble. And then Baron came in and says, why is Daniel Bryan giving Kevin and Sammy another chance? Because it should be mine. Are you still a McMahon, Shane? Then Ty says, well, you did lose your money in the bank cash-in. And Shane goes, we sell things in the ring because we're copying Raw. We're copying each other. Duh, duh, duh. So then we get Charlotte saying how it was great to watch history. It starts off with like Renee asking a question, and then it's like Charlotte's just cutting a promo. So why was she in there asking a question? It was great to watch history, but she wanted to be part of history. She didn't for one night only. She wanted to not be champion because she wanted to know how she would have done against the legends. Have the chance to outlast somebody that she knew. And then talks about the moment that broke the internet, which is like, I'm going, what, Rey Mysterio? Because, YouTube views. But no, apparently it's Ronda Rousey. Apparently that broke the internet. It didn't. I mean, that probably the thing that broke the internet was the Grammy snub for can't even remember his name. Kendrick Lamar not winning. Of course, they went with Bruno Mars. That's the thing that broke the internet, to be honest, on Sunday. And Charlotte basically says, "I'm walking into Mania the champ, but I want to know who I'm facing." So here comes the Riot Squad and says, "Forget about Asuka, forget about Ronda. Your ego is as big as your dad's. Of course, you think you've won the Royal Rumble match and handpick your opponent. I've met people like you on every level, impossibly arrogant. There's only one Ruby Riot. There's only somebody that looks like me, sounds like me, and fights like me." And I'm going, "Paige, you're just a cheap imitation of your father. Your time is over. If it was up to me, you wouldn't even make it to Mania." Charlotte's like, "You're done," and woos in her face. And Charlotte sort of has her own and takes out all three of them. But then when all three sort of attack at the same time, they overpower her. And Ruby, they all basically hit her. Liv's double stomp to the back looked absolutely terrible. Sarah Logan, I think, did bugger all. Ruby did a thrust kick and the Riot kick afterwards as well. So then out comes Carmella and a referee. She's cashing in the briefcase. And the referee's like, "You sure?" And he's talking over with Greg as to what's happening. And, she's getting up and everything. Charlotte, and Carmella goes for the drop kick. Charlotte dodges it and drop kicks the referee by accident. And he sort of rolls to the floor and sounds like death. Charlotte recovers and it's like, "Wake up, ref, wake up." And all of a sudden, Charlotte's like up on her feet, ready to fight, and Carmella just rolls out, grabs the briefcase, and says, "Not tonight, not tonight. We're not doing this tonight." So a nice sort of tease, I guess, is now going to be building because obviously we're running out of time on that case. The Nakamura's in the locker room and AJ stops in, and Nakamura says, "I'm going to win at Mania," and keeps saying it. And Nakamura says, "Look, I'm messing with you. Listen to me. The match tonight will be all right." So then Renee asks Carmella about what happened. Says, "It's just how I wanted it. I need Charlotte to remember that I'm around. I'm the most dangerous person. Also, I've got a broken nail. Why would I wrestle with a broken nail?" Apparently, according to Ellsworth, I can't remember if it's the Jericho podcast that went up a day or two ago, she was on the phone to him for hours and hours. She's the one that basically ended the call because she was sort of that concerned for how he was doing. Which I sort of get, considering how long they've been paired together in Carmella's, somewhat brief run actually on the main roster. Dillinger Corbin was pretty solid. Corbin winning with End of Days. Then, of course, we get Twitter promos from Aiden English and Rusev saying, Rusev will win the title on Rusev Day. Then Bobby Roode says, "I've got an appointment." But when you're the US champ, your schedule fills up very fast. So then Kevin and Sammy are in the locker room, and Sammy says, "Well, the good news is one of us gets a WWE title opportunity, but it's a shame we have to go against each other." Yep. And, all we need is an opportunity. And Kevin goes, "Well, yeah, as long as you don't fail." And Sammy says, "Well, you got pinned on Sunday." And Kevin goes, "Well, you got eliminated from the Royal Rumble." And Sammy goes, "Oh, we won't fail tonight." And Kevin goes, "Oh, yeah." So Gable and Benjamin versus Breezango. Gable and Benjamin win, with the with Gable Bulldog off the turnbuckle. So be it. And then we come back. We've got the Owen Zayn versus Styles and Nakamura match. Throughout the whole thing, there was miscommunication and distrust between Zayn and Owens. There was Zayn like going, "How long are you going to last without me, your guardian angel?" And it eventually gets to the end when basically they're sort of like, "I want to tag in." It's like, "I've got this. I want to tag in," and all sorts of stuff. And eventually it gets to the point where Sammy just walks off and heads to the back. Secretly, I think this is because, oh yeah, he's got to wrestle in 5 minutes time in the mixed match challenge.
Makes sense.
So yeah, unsurprisingly, Owens goes to the floor. Styles throws Owens back into the ring. Nakamura hits the round kick and the Kinshasa, and they win. Then Renee interviews Sammy backstage and says, "It's the end of the friendship," and Sammy goes, "Nope. This is about opportunities. It's, Kevin's been champion before. I haven't. It's my time to be champion. Next week, I'll be the guy that beats Kevin. And after Fastlane, I'll be the guy who's WWE champion." And then if we go by what was presented, we immediately go to Sami Zayn and Becky Lynch making their way out for Mixed Match Challenge. Because there is no pauses. There are no breaks. The gimmick they did this time is they wanted people to vote who went in the ring first, whether it be the women or the men, by specifically saying, "Do you want Becky Lynch to start or Sammy to start?" They were UNICEF and they had like Fitbit style things for like every so many movements or something. It equates to basically one meal given to some hungry child or something. I can't remember the exact details, but it was a nice little thing. But you knew UNICEF was going to be in trouble when you found out that Braun and Alexa's charity was Connor's Cure, aka WWE's own charity. How do you think this went, Owen?
Probably not very well.
Well, no, because it did, because we had Braun and Alexa. Their promo bit was Braun teaching Alexa to try and push over a car.
I saw this, and I love every second of these little vignettes they have to promote the Mixed Match Challenge. I like how the new one this time was when they were getting each other new gear. So Alexa basically got Braun a t-shirt which was her size, and Braun got her a t-shirt that was his size. And she put it on, and it looked like a dress.
Get these hands.
God, it was so funny.
The really good bit is it was a good sort of back and forth match. Obviously, it was. The problem here is you had sort of heel and face together.
That's the only problem with this whole Mixed Match Challenge is heel and face together thing now.
Which really didn't gel. But it pulled off because sort of Bliss is sort of on that cusp. Sammy is, but because he's sort of positioned so heavily as a heel, whereas Alexa, it's less so. Because basically there's been no credible threat to her, at least in terms of a face.
Yeah, there hasn't.
The only one to some extent was, but again, it's because of Becky's attitude, which comes into effect later on. So Zayn sort of tries to go into the crowd. Strowman stops him and press slams him over the barrier, by the timekeeper's bit. And Braun runs over, tags in Alexa because Becky's out on the mat. Alexa climbs up on Braun's shoulders and hits the Twisted Bliss off his shoulders.
So awesome.
And gets the 3 count. So next week, it's going to be Naomi and Jimmy Uso The great thing is, and that was the interesting thing as well about SmackDown that I forgot. The first promo for the Universal Sweepstakes was Naomi and the Usos. So it was like, oh, he got added back in because he got removed from Monday night's Raw. And then by the end of SmackDown, Naomi and Jimmy Uso is like, wow, Jay's lost his DWI spot again. So they're taking on Goldust and the replacement, Mandy Rose. Which in all honesty means, and I did like the fact that Doug Lackey sort of did reference this earlier tonight over on Twitch. He wants to see Mandy come out with the Goldust face paint and everything. Which, when you think about it, Mandy isn't that too far looking in sort of generic appearance, like blonde and everything, to Marlena. Or Axana, for that matter.
That's the thing. I was going to mention both of those. The thing is, I mean, one of the things that I noticed is the idea that I had a long time ago when they were talking about Goldust bringing in like a shining star, basically, like not using, obviously, pun not intended, but bringing in a girl to work with him that would basically be his new Marlena, and it'd be what Summer Rae would have been, and that's exactly what Mandy could be.
Mm-hmm.
Been with Goldust.
So afterwards, Renee's in the ring and says, how did you win? You know, what was the plan? And Alexa says, well, it was my strategy. That's why we've got a future, and that's why we'll win. And Braun is just, you expect sort of like, Braun sort of went a bit too honest here. And like, just as the actual Braun, not the, the monster. Alexa's a lot smaller than me, but her personality is as big as I am, and it's a team effort. We get on professionally and actually personally as well. In Alexa, I think you're kind of cute. And Alexa's like, you're kind of cute too. You're like a big Mack truck with a big smiley face on the front. And Braun goes, thank you, I think. And then Alexa just says, don't worry, we're going all the way. And the crowd who were dead for most of the night, just like, yeah, and Braun. Braun just, God damn it, I need to get on the right thing. Braun just brilliantly is just like, there's always that facial reactions. It's just like playing up the fact that it's like double entendre and everything. And then Alexa says, we're going all the way to a victory in the mixed match challenge. And of course the crowd are just going, all the way, all the way. And then Alexa says, excuse me, Renee, but I think I've got the mic because I think I've got this. Go ahead and do it, Braun. And then, of course, it's just the Braun! And that's it. This is why everybody needs to applaud Braun Strowman. To be honest, if we're doing the whole Meltzer Awards thing, for the year, Strowman is most improved.
Right.
Because he's gone from somebody that I thought was absolute shit to somebody that I want to see in the main event of a pay-per-view every month. Which I didn't think I'd say this time last year.
Same here.
Then into 205 Live. Starting off with Daniel Bryan and Rockstar Spud.
Drake Maverick.
Yeah.
Jiminy Christmas, that name is terrible.
Yeah, but you know why they've done it, don't you?
The DM's the GM?
No. Think about our favorite referee in WWE.
Well, yeah.
That's why they've done it. They don't want because that's why they'll be chanting Drake now. It won't be because of the referee. It'll be because of a 205 Live GM. So the most important thing is Abeyance is holding this title for another 66 days. Which I think means it'll be the second longest reign, I think, as champion. Or something like that.
Abeyance has got it on lockdown, sir.
No, that's a TNA pay-per-view.
Oh, not anymore.
Who knows what the fuck's going on with them? So we're doing a 16-man single elimination tournament, which will culminate at WrestleMania's pre-show. Let's be honest, if it isn't on the pre-show, it doesn't make sense. So the two matches we're getting tonight, Alexander versus Gran Metalik and TJ Perkins versus Tyler Bate. And Cedric says, it's another obstacle that I have to overcome, but winning at Mania will be all worth it. And then Kalisto and Dorado give Metalik a pep talk, and even Drake comes in. Prove yourself. Show me what you can do. He's like, wow. I mean, I wish I'd seen him wrestling, but let's hope it transitions into that somewhere down the line, rather than just being an on-air talent. Alexander versus Gulak is really good. Alexander winning with a lumbar check. So then they have the Tyler Bate UK Championship feature because that's all they can do. And then Jack Gallagher says, oh, wow, a fellow countryman is the GM. I hope he understands the importance of a gentleman winning the tournament. And then Drake's backstage with some random sound guy. And Drew Gulak stops by and says, I'm happy to see that you're the new GM. I want law and order and I hope that you implement it. And gives him a giant bouquet of flowers, which Drake just passes on to the sound guy, who awkwardly sort of glances into camera for a brief second as if to go, breaking the fourth wall here, you dumb shit. Then we got Mustafa Ali doing sort of a sit-down, inset promo style thing, saying, last week I tore the house down with Cedric, which is fair because it really was a good match. The people were chanting and yelling, but I lost. That was the only bit that wasn't awesome. I need the wake. That gave me my wake-up call. I'm going to win and punch my ticket to Mania. So then TJ's being interviewed and says, look, I was the first Cruiserweight champ. Then he's brings up his losing streak and is like, everyone's got a short memory. I won the Cruiserweight Classic. I'm the first champ. And Drake comes in and says, hello, TJ. Drake Maverick, the new GM. This is a new day, and Tyler's a hungry guy. He wants to go to Mania and become the Cruiserweight champ. The question is, are we going to see the TJ that won the Cruiserweight Classic, or the TJ who whines and complains when he doesn't get his way? And then Tozawa's cutting another Twitter promo saying, I'm disappointed that I didn't become GM, but now I can win the Cruiserweight title at WrestleMania. And then just randomly goes to a guy, you're fired. The great thing is, you can clearly tell it's the same guy that was the sound guy from 5 minutes earlier, except he hasn't got glasses and has got different clothes on. Way to disguise that, guys. Jesus. Perkins and Bate had a very good match as well. Perkins getting the win with a sunset flip with the hold of the tights. After basically getting out of a Tiger Driver 97 by holding onto the rope. So that should be all right. So TJ and Cedric progress. Next week, we got Kalisto versus Lindsay Dorado and Hideo Itami versus Roderick Strong.
That's going to be fun.
Oh boy, yeah, it is. Worth mentioning for main event, the tapings they did before Raw on Monday. Kalisto Grammatalik and Lindsay Dorado beat TJP, Uriah Daivari, and Jack Gallagher. And Bayley beat Sonya Deville. There is justice in the world. I don't know whether it's Bayley being on main event or Sonya Deville losing. Probably the latter. So then we get to the night's NXT. Nikki Cross versus Lacey Evans was solid. The most important thing is Nikki Cross won with the Fisherman's Neckbreaker. And Nikki tried to go after Lacey afterwards, but the referee held her back, and Lacey's just like, "You're crazy." And Nikki's just sort of nodding as it goes, "Yeah." It's like, yes. Nikki Cross, the woman who should be getting put over. So then we get comments from, I mean, they recap sort of the tag title match. They recap the NXT stuff, which I'll just say as a given. So then they get Shayna Baszler after covering the women's match and says, what she did, why did you attack her afterwards? And Shayna's just like, let's be honest, Ember didn't beat me. She survived. And barely did she survive. Why don't you go to the medical rooms and interview her about this and see who the real winner is? Good promo. That's how you do it, Rhonda. Honestly. And then Kyle was sort of, because it's Cole and Black, and Kyle was backstage, I guess, afterwards saying, what happened? And Bobby says, we took care of AOP. And then Adam's like, Sanity's going to pay for this. So next week, so I'm guessing this will be taped tomorrow. It's going to be, what are they called again? Red Dragon? Undisputed Era.
Undisputed Era.
Versus Sanity of Wolf and Young. So I guess Damo is out of the country. Probably on visa or something. I don't know. So then they recap Velveteen Dream and Cassius Ohno. And Velveteen was asked about his victory and his promise to win in less than 30 seconds. But the fact that he didn't do it. And he's just like, I know what I said. He knocked my mouthpiece out of my mouth. And then says, Kayla, read my trunks. And she just goes, dream over? And he just walks off. It's like, yes. So now it's TM61 versus the Ely brothers. Or as Twitter has now dubbed them, the Usher brothers. because they're both brothers and they both look like Usher.
They both look like Usher. Yeah, okay, I see where they're coming from. That's wow. Thank you, Twitter. Good job. Good job, Twitter.
TM61 win with the Thunder Valley. Solid. Although if only it was a Street Profits. Then again, you probably couldn't have done that because of face versus face, so whatever. So we've now got TM61 backstage, and Nick saying we're so much more than TM61. We are the mighty. And then Shane goes, the mighty do not kneel.
Nice.
So we're stealing ideas from Shikara. Although Shikara happened 24 hours later from when this would have been taped. Oh! So then they recap Gargano and Almas and the Ciampa attack. And Ciampa was asked, where have you been? Why did you do that? And Ciampa just doesn't say anything and walks out and just leaves the arena. And then we get an interview with Almas asking about takeover in the Rumble and Zelina. Apparently, the reason why Zelina was wearing what she was wearing was as a tribute to Lita in her SA Rios days. Back in the olden times.
In the way long ago, in the way before time.
Well, no, back when there was an F. Yes. This is the NXT champ, and this was my plan all along. It wouldn't have happened to the old Almas. It's been a great weekend for El Idolo. It's only the beginning. You know, where's Johnny wrestling? He's watching the Royal Rumble on TV. So then they cover EC3's return. And I did see the promo that he did backstage, basically saying, people say, you know, the motto around here is "We are NXT." My motto is "I'm EC3." And after 1,700 and something days, I'm back. So it's as if I've got a point to prove. As if to say, why the hell did you get rid of me? Oh, I take it back. Next week on NXT, Adam Cole versus Killian Dane 1-on-1. So I guess he is in the country. I just didn't use him because... So then Strong versus Bate. Good as you'd expect. Because it's these two. Strong on the end of Heartache. He'll be getting a shot at Pete Dunne. I'm guessing on the next tapings, which means within the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's the tapings at Center Stage, this weekend?
Tomorrow. Thursday.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So yeah, that is the rundown of the WWE.
You want to talk? Full Sail will be the next tapings around here. That's going to be on March 7th. So, unfortunately, I will not be at that show.
I think makes sense. Let's just have a look at the calendar. That'll be 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th. When are they taping?
March 7th.
So they must be doing 5 weeks worth of taping then.
And just announced April 12th is the next day for NXT, and I can break this live. NXT tapings at Full Sail one more time, April 11th, which is a Wednesday. Tickets go on sale on February 12th at 10 a.m. Eastern if you want to get a Full Sail for NXT's return to here.
Oh, and PWG is already sold out.
I could respond to that, and I don't need to because you know what I'm going to say before I say it.
Wow.
Thank you, Daniel Day-Lewis. Let's do this.
I've abandoned my boy! No, what, that one?
No, not that one. There's a whole speech for it. Anyway.
I drink your milkshake.
Wrong thread, sir.
My right foot. I mean, my left foot.
God. Let's go to mixed martial arts.
MMA. So the big stuff is it's getting fucking ridiculous. Mainly because the first point is the show was shit this past week. Had the lowest audience for a Fox show ever. I think barely got 1 million views, which considering it's on the actual Fox channel, not Fox Sports, that's pretty terrible. Also, when you take into account it was Saturday and wasn't really going up against anything because, well, I guess the only competition was like basketball or baseball, like prelims, you know, preseason. If there was even that, I think it was basketball, the match I was thinking about. You know, because the Pro Bowl was Sunday, the Rumble was Sunday, NXT was Sunday, the Grammys was Sunday. There was no real sort of big competition going against it, really. So, I'll just go through the main card bits. Drew Dober beat Frank Camacho in the welterweight division via unanimous decision. There was a late first round TKO for Greg Gillespie against Jordan Rinaldi in the lightweights. Andre Phil beat Dennis Bermudez via split decision. 229-28 for Philly. But the other judge gave it 30-27 to Bermudez. So I don't know whether on the level of Triple G versus Alvarez, which, by the way, is coming May 5th, and we might just randomly talk about it on here. Because apparently if boxing fights are that big and that controversial like they were the last time, Do you remember the last one, Owen? A few months back.
Boxing? Mayweather?
Well, no, Triple G and Alvarez, where one of the judges gave it literally the complete opposite of what everybody else saw, which then proceeded with chance of fix. Especially because that meant it ended in a draw because one of the judges gave it a close. One of the judges gave it a draw and the other judge gave it a narrow win comfortable win to Triple G. And then the other one was like, Alvarez won all but 2 of the rounds, and everyone's going, he barely won 5. How did he win 10? So I don't expect that judge to ever judge in a boxing fight again. So we might cover that in May if we're getting that. Well, I wouldn't say desperate because it probably will be a big enough thing for attention that everything will get put aside, even in terms of UFC stuff. Dober and Camacho's fight on that main card got the other thing I forgot, the main event. Ronald Jacare Souza beat Derek Brunson with a late first round TKO with a head kick and a load of punches. So Jacare got performance of the night bonus. Dober and Camacho's match got fight of the night, so they both got $50,000. And then from the undercard, Mirsad Bektic for beating Godofredo Pepe in the featherweight division with a mid-round good old body punch that led to a TKO. Bektic got $50,000 as well for his efforts. Coming up this weekend could be another shit show. Even though I'd say there's a couple of big names on it, it might not be that enough to get a really good viewership, which considering that UFC's in talks for obviously contract renegotiation in terms of, who broadcasts their stuff next, this is sort of the weirdest thing to do. The other reason probably why it will suffer is it's in Brazil, but it's not in one of the hotbeds of Brazil. They're heading really up north to Belém at the arena Guilherme Parense. They've been in the northeast before, but this is the time when they've really sort of gone to the very north before. We're talking sort of in the middle of the Amazon sort of jungle, that sort of area. The main event sees Lyoto Machida versus Eric Anders in the middleweights. We've also got John Dodson versus Pedro Munoz in the bantamweights, and Valentina Shevchenko versus Priscilla Cachoeira in the women's flyweight. Also as part of the 6-match main card, which is pretty ridiculous. Mikael Prazeres versus Desmond Green in the lightweights. Heavyweight bout between Timothy Johnson and Marcelo Golm. Golm being a replacement for Luis Enrique that got changed, I think. I know it was due to injury, but certainly Enrique got removed from the event back in December. And also Thiago Santos in the middleweight division taking on Anthony Smith. We've also got Fox Sports 1 prelims, even though it's all on Fox Sports 1. But the prelims have Sergio Morales versus Tim Means in the welterweight division, Alan Patrick versus Damian Hadzovic in the lightweight, and 2 bantamweight bouts with Yuri Alcantara versus Joe Soto and Douglas Silva de Andrade versus Marlon Vera. And then on the Fight Pass prelims, a women's strawweight bout with Maya Stevenson versus Poliana Vivana, and a flyweight bout with Davison Figueiredo versus Joseph Morales. The big news to come out of it, Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier is confirmed for Fight Week. UFC 225, I think. Double check. Let's look at the list of UFC events. 226. This is the one that's rumored to also have Nunes versus Cyborg, but that's not been confirmed yet. If so, that's literally 4 heavyweight champions facing each other for 2 belts. So as if we're not already telling you that there's inter weight band rivalry with the fact that they're doing it. The thing that ties in, though, to Miocic and Cormier is they're both going to be the head coaches for the upcoming season of Ultimate Fighter, starting in April. Although I will say the story behind this one is an interesting one because it's Ultimate Fighter Undefeated. The tagline being every single fighter that is in this competition, both in the flyweight and the lightweight division, because I think there's 8 from each, are undefeated in MMA fights. So the idea is there will be one definitive undefeated featherweight and lightweight champion that will win the tournament for each weight limit. I'm guessing it's for each weight limit because otherwise that's a bit stupid. So yeah, this is different, but it's enough of an angle where I'm thinking, yeah, that has some promise. As I say, it'll build up to the finals, which will be the night before the big pay-per-view on Friday, July the 6th. The venues to be announced, but it obviously is going to be in Vegas in some sorts, whether it will be, at the T-Mobile Arena, or whether it will be, part of the MGM Grand or whatever, like they have been, at least they were, I'm trying to think, last year. A quick look, July. Oh no, the Ultimate Fighter last year was actually at the T-Mobile Arena as well. The night before, and if we're going on precedence, because it obviously hadn't been built then, the MGM Grand Garden Arena held it in 2016 as well. So on that logic, it'll either be in the MGM Grand or it'll be in the T-Mobile. They've also announced, in terms of other stuff, there is no confirmation as to who's headlining UFC Fight Night. Because Bisping basically isn't fighting on it. So I'm guessing he'll be commentating on it. I love the fact that clearly this has been edited recently for the UFC London card, because it says underneath the fight card, so far is the single worst card in MMA history. Wow, somebody really hates London. I don't know. So yeah, the schedule coming up, because I might as well run through the short term and the long term. We've got UFC Fight Night in Brazil coming up this week. Next week we've got the UFC 221 in Perth, Australia, being headlined by Luke Rockhold versus Yoel Romero for the interim UFC middleweight title. Also with Mark Hunt on the undercard for that one. UFC Fight Night Cowboy versus Medeiros. That's Donald Cerrone versus Yancy Medeiros. The week after that, in Austin, Texas. Then in Orlando, Florida. I don't know where that is, Owen. Do you?
I don't know.
No, thought not.
That's the show at Amway, right?
Yes, that's another Fox one. That looks a much stronger card because we've got Josh Emmett, Jeremy Stevens headlining. We've also got Jessica Andrade versus Tessia Torres and Ovin St. Preux and Elia Latifi. Also, Renan Barao is going to be on that card as well, looking further down. Name I recognize, Angela Hill as well. There's a much bigger name of, I guess they want to fight in America rather than somewhere like in the middle of nowhere in Brazil to some extent. Let me just double check so I'm not being controversial to the Belém people. Oh yeah, we're talking really, really north. Average high temperatures of 30 degrees. Ooh, it's going to be hot then. Hydration issues could be leading to problems. Then the first trip of the year to Las Vegas on March the 3rd for UFC 222. Headlined by Max Holloway defending the featherweight title against Frankie Edgar. I've also got, by the looks of it, Andrei Arlovsky, Stefan Struve on that card, Kat Zingano in action as well, and CB Dollaway versus Hector Lombard, so looks strong, which for a pay-per-view it sure should be. Then the London show on March 17th. April 7th, UFC 223 at the Barclays Center, because I've got to say it right, because, SummerSlam, Barclays. That tentatively is headlined by Thug Rose versus Yana Jacek for the strawweight title in the rematch, and then Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov for the lightweight title, along with other ones obviously still to be set up. April 14th, another Fox show, this time headlined by Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje, and also Carlos Condit versus Matt Brown, which I think might be Condit's last fight. I'm not sure. But that'll be in Glendale, Arizona on the 14th. Then somewhere in Rio, although we don't know where, on May 26th, we've got UFC 224. I don't think there's any tentative match labeled for that just yet. Then the double bill of the Ultimate Fighter finale and UFC 226 over the 6th and 7th of July. They're going to Russia in September for a fight night show at the Olympic Stadium there. And then we have confirmed that UFC 229 and 232, if those numbers stay the same, will also both be in the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. The traditional end-of-year one as well, of course, December 29th. As they always do, seemingly. Or at least around Christmas time, because Christmas. Da, ba, da, ba, da.
All right. Move forward to Ring of Honor.
Real solid show this week. The final set of tapings from the Easy Dope Arena, as it is. They recapped SoCal Uncensored's attack last week. Punishment Martinez took on Dobbs, which was basically just a squash match. Dobbs got dobbed right out. Dalton then came to ringside. They had a stare down and sort of a fight, and a sort of a mini brawl, and then Martinez sort of went on the apron to sort of go for another attack because he got thrown out the ring, and then just went no and went away with a smirk on his face. And clearly the match was to send a message. Then we had Coast to Coast versus War Machine. Again, playing on the fact that how are these guys that are going to break up if they lose be on the same page against such a dominant team as War Machine? So it was interesting. They went for the fallout and kicked out. Coast to Coast did, which was like amazing. They went for a second one on Ali, but Leon St. Giovanni held Hansen's leg, which allowed Ali to slip out, quick roll up Raymond Rowe, get the free count, and Coast to Coast get the upset victory. And it's clearly put C2C in the division sort of as contenders now, and it's done in the right way of War Machine putting them over as they move on to some place called Orlando. Again, I don't know if you've heard of it.
I don't know.
But yeah, really good match. So then out came Bully Ray of his boots and made it clear that final battle was his final battle. His wrestling career flashed before his eyes after his match. Then Lethal came out and put Bully Ray over, thanking him for his career and the advice and the help he's given the locker room. That was a nice sort of little send-off. And except for the fact that apparently Sheriff Bully Ray is showing up in the next set of tapings. Just like Stone Cold. So then SoCal Uncensored versus the Bullet Club. Really good match as well, which you'd expect because, There's obviously going to be good chemistry between the six, even if it was, Cody, Marty Scurll, and Adam Page rather than the Bucks. In the end, basically, it came to Page getting singled out, triple teamed with the lung blower from Kazarian, the right hand from Daniels, and a knee to the head on Page to basically get the win. But really good match. Telling the story that it did too, and I must say as well, the commentary was pretty awesome. All I can remember about it was there was a lot of 90s references and a lot of Harry Potter references. So considering the Ravenclaw video you saw earlier this week on this channel, Owen needs to watch this on the Fight TV app sooner rather than later.
Very nice.
Riccoboni and Cabana are damn good. Damn good. So I guess, do we now transfer to Phil Collins?
We are going to New Japan.
Oh, we're going to that stuff. Oh, please tell me you've seen Being the Elite.
I haven't yet. I'm behind.
What an ending. What an ending. I'll briefly sum up to at least the last video in a bit. But yeah, New Beginning in Sapporo happened over the weekend. Kitamura lost both his matches against Elgin and Juice Robinson. Kojima's being replaced by Manabu Nakanishi, I think, for basically the rest of the tour, from what I can tell.
Sounds like it.
So yeah, Bullet Club retained over Taguchi, Hanare, and Makabe, with Tamatonga doing a what's the Dreamcatcher submission?
Dreamcatcher?
Yeah, that's what it's called on Hanare. It's a new submission from Tamatonga. We're doing submission moves now, I guess, because we're copying the box of they don't have to always win with the Meltzer driver. I don't know.
Oh, it's a twister. It's a legitimate. Yeah, it's one of the same. It's a legitimate collegiate high school wrestling move.
Wrestling. Yoshihashi went on a rampage afterwards, sort of attacking both LIJ guys of Naito and Hiromu with their match against Ospreay, which LIJ won. So yeah, Yoshihashi seems to be on some sort of rampage, if you will. Then the other LIJ match with Okada and Goto and Gedo versus Sanada, Evil, and Bushi. Okada and Chaos won, and afterwards Okada said, "Nobody cares why you're in New Japan or LIJ. People only know how much you care about being the champion." And Sanada went to speak, but then tossed it aside and walked away, and Okada chased him down and attacked him and choked him out with a Cobra Clutch. And he's supposed to be the face, ladies and gentlemen. What? And then Tanahashi versus Suzuki. The referee stopped it because basically Tanahashi passed out in the heel hold. And Suzuki taunted him afterwards, after he was carried out on a stretcher, saying he'd never stand in the ring again. Which probably means you're not seeing Tanahashi until probably G1. So I don't know what that means about him showing up at the Supercard of Honor and all those shows that he was booked for. So we'll see. Night 2. So Tanahashi was out due to osteoarthritis. I wouldn't say it was that far. It'd be more like he's hurt, not osteoarthritis. That's what old people get when their backs go and everything. I don't know. Or when, when they cramp up and can't move as much.
I mean, I have arthritis, but it's not that that type.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say Tanahashi's at that level. So,
No.
So the key things of note: Suzuki and Iizuka completely fucked up Elgin and Hanare in their win, and certainly afterwards as well. But Makabe made the save, so it looks like we're angling Makabe versus Suzuki as the next feud. The club beat Ibushi, Finlay, and Kushida, with Page getting the win. Actually, for the second straight night, on night one, he got the win on Ibushi, Robinson, and Finlay with the rite of passage on Finlay. And then this time he got the rite of passage on Kushida this time around. Then we had the 5-on-5 between LIJ and Chaos, which LIJ won, Sonado hitting a skull end on Gedo, so they're building up him strong, which of course means he's losing. But then Yoshihashi once again tried to attack Naito afterwards and had to be stopped by his Chaos teammate. So we're really angling the fact of this guy's a crazy menace. And then the two title matches, the tag titles, changed hands. Joe and Yo getting the titles back off the Young Bucks with a small package on Matt. And then the US title. Omega losing to Jay White after the Blade Runner after just shy of 30 minutes. So then afterwards, Hangman Page basically took the title belt away from Jay, who was posing with it, trying to assert himself as the next challenger. But then Omega grabbed the belt away and gave it to Jay, saying, you deserve it. And then Omega and Page argued. Cody and the Young Bucks and Marty came out and they were all arguing. Omega accidentally pushed over the Bucks. And they sort of walked out on him saying, what are you doing? What's that all about? And then Cody basically said, we'll talk about this, because obviously they're building up the feud between them. And they put things aside and shook hands on it and everything. And Cody held the ropes for Kenny to get out. Immediately grabbed him as soon as Kenny was trying to get out. Hit him with the crossroads. Skrull and Page came back in wondering what's going on. What's all this about? And Cody keeps saying, like, this was your moment, Page. He ruined it for you. Goes over to Kevin Kelly, who basically, if you look at the footage, because they did put like there is a 7-minute sort of clip on New Japan's Twitter. That's it. Kevin literally hands him the chair. It was supposed to be in such a way that the other, Cody was trying to grab the chair off him and everything. But you can see sort of like Kevin pulls it out as if he's giving it to him rather than the other way around. So who knows? So he gives it to Page he gets it. Page holds him up. Sort of Marty doesn't know what to do. He's conflicted. Cody is about to swing. Kota Ibushi runs down the ramp, gets in the ring. Page and Cody flee. And, Kota holds his hand up saying, come on, buddy. Let's get you sorted. And, Kenny was conflicted. Does this mean the club, the elite, is over? Is it all done? And Kota just doesn't. He sort of turns him around, doesn't even grab his hand, just hugs him and starts crying with him. The Funky Brothers are back. The Golden Stars, if you will. And the sort of it did carry on into being the elite. So it starts off with them struggling to get Sapporo because of snow. And every time they see Omega, he's going in the opposite direction as if I'm going to first class. Don't worry. It's like the fight's delayed. I'm going to first class. And then, of course, he eventually comes back in when he's sort of stuck and goes, did you know the flight's delayed? And not that. Then there's a sort of not in character segment where they go to find Where's Waldo actually at the airport in Tokyo. Which was weird. And then we get to the summation of what happened. And it comes to them, all of the Bullet Club, obviously bar Kenny, backstage, and Cody comes in saying, "This is your moment." You know, Bucks, you're better than just being a second to Kenny. You're the best tag team in the world, damn it. You know, Marty, you're strong as well. This was your moment, Adam. You know, nobody should be in charge. Bullet Club is fine. Bullet Club is fine, and he leaves. And just brilliantly, Marty just goes, "Are we?" We also get, I think, Chico or something, the guy in the mask that trained supposedly Dusty, that's clearly Rocky Romero in a mask. Apparently, he's all in. I'm guessing that means Rocky Romero's all in.
I'd say
whenever
so.
It happens. And we get to Kenny walking in the hotel lobby, looking in camera, walking along to whatever music it is. And he gets to the door and sort of pensively thinks for a second, knocks on it, 718 or whatever the number is. And we pan to the door opening, and there standing Kenny. And then in walks Kota Ibushi alongside Kenny. We cut back, and the Young Bucks are at the door. And they sort of part as if to say, "Come on in, guys." And they go in, and the door shuts, and that's where the episode ends. It's really well done, as you'd expect from those guys.
Oh yeah, of course. I just haven't had a chance to see it yet. I mean,
which makes me wonder
so
whether the Elite is breaking away now from the Bullet Club.
That's what it looks like.
And it's basically Bullet Club Civil War. I don't know what side Marty's going to be on, in all honesty, as well.
He's with the Elite for sure.
Certainly from the way that he conducted himself in all the stuff that we've seen so far, it looks as if, for sure. So,
I'd say it's the Bucks, it's Cody, it's Marty, and it's Paige, and everybody else is Bullet Club.
yeah, but if Omega and the Bucks are still standing together, that can't mean Cody's in the Elite, surely.
We don't know if they are, though, at this point.
Unless it becomes the Funky Bros. We get a new stable. So this basically leads us into next week. Monday and Tuesday, 2 back-to-back shows at Kurikan Hall. They're both going to have American commentary as well as Japanese commentary. The big things from those shows, Kitamura's got his 2 more trial series matches. I don't know who's replacing Kojima. I guess Nakanishi. If they're doing that, I don't know. He's certainly facing Tenzan, though, on Monday. But the big stuff, Monday we'll see a 10-man elimination match between LIJ and LIJ and Chaos. And then on Tuesday at the second Korakuen Hall show, Sonata and Evil defend the tag titles against Okada and Goto. That then leads us into the following Saturday, which I know is in 2 weeks, but I might as well mention it here because apart from Nagata versus Kitamura and the other trial match of the series that will be happening, the main stuff is the 5 matches, singles matches between the Chaos and LIJ group. So we've got Gato versus Bushi, Yoshihashi versus Naito, Ospreay versus Takahashi for the junior heavyweight title, Goto versus Evil for the never openweight title, and Okada versus Sanada for the IWGP heavyweight title. And it's all going down. Puroresu Ishiban.
All right.
Now we get to Phil Collins.
Yep.
So we're starting off with the Grand Championship between EC3 and Matt Sydal with no stipulations. As in, it's just a regular match. Interesting. Sydal wins with a Sydal press. Pretty good match, I will say. The great thing is, it does mean that, you know, EC3 is getting buried, despite being the fact that the guy that basically... Would you say that EC3 is the guy that possibly kept Impact afloat for the last couple of years of the shit that went down?
Oh, for complete sure. I mean, there's no one else that really comes to mind. The only other person that even comes close would be James Storm or Abyss.
Yeah, but as the notes that I've got here from P. Windsor, he didn't walk out like the Hardys or the Bennetts or Drew Galloway. He was the one that stayed there. And sort of ever since the new regime came in, they've treated him like shit to some extent.
I can agree with that.
I guess because he had the gimmick of being a Carter, it was like, well, you shat on, son. Because we don't want anything tied to that ever again. The great thing is he's still called EC3 as it stands in NXT, so who knows?
I don't think they're ever they're gonna have to figure out what else they're gonna say for that, to be honest. But I mean, I think they just keep him EC3.
Yeah. So now we get Laurel Van Ness versus Ali. Which wasn't bad. The ref getting knocked over by a bad bump by Ali, so Laurel knocks her out with the belt while the referee's down, covers her for the win. So Laurel is still champion. So the really confusing about this matter is the Laurel Van Ness match was recorded, I think, at the first set of tapings, wasn't it?
I believe so.
For Genesis. But the Sydal EC3 one was the last set of tapings. A few weeks back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they're that split up.
EC3's last night with the company was the only taping I actually could go to.
No, but I'm saying the Knockouts title match, from what I can remember, was recorded in December.
I believe so.
And then they did this one. They did the Sydal match back in January. Who knows? So now it's time for Bobby Lashley versus Moose. which Moose wins with a game changer. Thanks to bloody KM sort of distracting and getting up on the apron and saying to Lashley use a table. So causing the distraction and whatever. There was also an awesome bit when Lashley did a flying head scissors for some reason. So Moose goes after Dan Lambert, but Lashley dragged him to the floor before Moose could even get his hands on him. No, that's Lashley going after Lambert, by the way, and Lambert slags off Lashley for losing and shoves him, and KM tries to get between them, and Lashley shoves him off and spears him, throws Lambert into the ring. Moose knocks him out with a bicycle kick. They set up with the table. Dan Lambert gets speared through the table. And then Moose spears the manager guy or whatever. Moose and Lashley shake hands. Lashley raises Moose's hand in victory. And that's the end of the MMA gimmick. Why the fuck did they do it in the first place? Perhaps this is why bloody Joanna Jacek lost. Because Dan Lambert was more interested in getting the Impact paycheck. For gross! And then they recap Ishimori defending the X Division title against Andrew Everett in Pro Wrestling Noah, which Ishimori won. They have to show a clip from something that didn't happen in Impact, because that's the trend. And then the world title match in the Six Sides of Steel, Drake, Patron, and Impact. The really smart thing, it was a very good match, but the really smart thing was the ending. So Alberto tries to get through the door, but Adonis slams the door into Alberto's head, so he goes back in the ring. During this time, Drake and Impact climb over the cage. Impact drops down straight into the arms of Chris Adonis, so Eli Drake can drop down onto the mat, and therefore his feet touch the ground first. Eli Drake wins. And per the stipulation, Alberto and Impact cannot challenge him as long as he is champion. Spoilers, that's going to get ruined next week by Austin Aries. But some good matches on the show. But then we'll get even more awkward come this week, considering the biggest news of the week. Impact's head commentator for the next 4 weeks, from what I can tell, unless they fucking change it, now works for the WWE.
Uh-huh.
Borash is... I don't think WWE's put out an official statement yet, have they?
Not that I'm aware of.
Everybody has wished him well in the move. So it seems, you know, PW Insider have got their sources that have confirmed it. Other places have confirmed it. Word is Triple H wanted him. So Triple H got him. He's going to be involved in some shape or form with NXT.
Yep.
I don't know in what form. Perhaps doing promo work, maybe. Perhaps creative. I don't think it would make sense to put him on commentary. Because I think Nigel did a good job, and the other fact of the matter, and I don't know whether I addressed this on Sunday, the fact that Nigel had the flu, Percy and Morrow did a great job of a 2-man team, considering it should have been a 3-man team. It probably was helped by the fact that obviously TakeOver's a damn good show anyway, but so I don't know how they transition him in. I guess he could be the interview person because, you know, Kayla's shit. Because if you had him, joining me at this time, I fear him. I fear I don't want him to replace Mike Rome. Dear God, no. He could be on that front. Who knows?
Well, if he's going to NXT, I mean, maybe not now.
The great thing is, though, this means the law is even more cursed. Because there was a big thing, and I was going to bring it up in the news. They're talking about how this week there is a shit ton of 10 days of pro wrestling on Twitch. Which started off, I think, with the AAA show, which we'll get to, and then House of Hardcore, and then Impact doing all its stuff. Can I find the feed? The Impact one's obviously 24/7 anyway, but I need to find out if I can see it, because it would be interesting if I could. Yeah. Shout Factory, the guys that do the... What's it called? Now I'm trying to work out if it's not working on my tablet because it's region locked, in which case, great Twitch. You're realizing that the rest of the world can watch it, and I fucking can't. You twat. They did that with Mystery Science Theater 3000's Turkey Day Marathon, so I had to watch the YouTube feed. So now I'm trying to see whether it's geo-blocked, which is always a brilliant thing, because then it's like, well, thanks. Okay, well, it says the channel's offline. Oh, did it actually end? Did it actually end, damn it? God damn it. So, one of the things that they were saying is with the wrestling, the other stuff they were mentioning, see if I can get it in my notes. Just to double check. Where is it? There it is. So they're talking about, as I say, the AAA show, House of Hardcore. Oh, yeah, content not available. So I'm region blocked out of seeing it. Thanks, guys. You can see it, Owen, if you wanted to. It's like old... Well, I'll say the description. Starting January 30th, there'll be a 13-hour marathon, so I'm guessing it probably has finished, even though it's still playing now, showcasing tentpole events and promotions that shape today's pro wrestling scene. First to air is classic wrestling battles, featuring stuff back to the 50s between legends such as Dick the Bruiser, Gorgeous George, and Haystack Calhoun. Also airing, it will be Brawling Beauty's Glow, which is a look back at the original Glow series. I can't see it. Owen can, because it's region blocked. Thanks, guys. Brilliant. I want to be able to react to it. I can't. I'm annoyed because I don't know how it would be copyright problematic, at least in the UK, because it's probably never been seen in the UK. But either way, it's region blocked, so I can't see it. I have to send an angry email. I dread to think if everything's blocked, because that's how I watched Arcade back a few months back, and that was awesome. The original video game quiz show or game show thing. I don't know, whatever. So yeah, they're doing that. But one of the things that they talked about, along with the Impact Wrestling stuff, and also Hood Slam, we've got a show on Friday night. They were talking about, if you at least look at the link that was provided in terms of like the wrestling page on Twitch, they mention how in like late February they're going to debut the Josh Matthews second screen experience thing during the Impacts on Thursday nights, And then from, I think it was the 20, let me have a look at the calendar. From the 26th of February, we were going to have live on Twitch The Law with Jeremy Borash. Obviously now that's been thrown out the window and is still on hiatus because now they're trying to establish who's going to host it. The Matthews show is still happening, and also the what's his name? Tyrus. The Tyrus thing, which is basically just what he does on Fox News, except it's on Impact. So yeah. Either way, what I'm trying to say is Borash has screwed him over even more. She's brilliant. After what they did to the Law guys, I don't think, we deserve another Law. We have got another Law. It's called Post Wrestling. Postwrestling.com. I'll give them a cheap plug because, they're damn good. Hell, it was them that reported about, I think they got the exclusive on Arizona getting the Rumble, didn't they? I think it was the first place that I saw it. And obviously they had the whole... Scott Steiner said Toronto. They haven't even booked Toronto. We don't know what's going on with the... What are they calling it? Lockdown? No, they're not calling it lockdown, are they?
No, it's something else.
Some other name. I can't remember.
Give me a minute. I'll think. It's being replaced this year by another name.
Aftershock or something?
Something like that.
TNA April 2018. Let's see. Redemption,
yeah.
So they're stealing NXT names. So because Borash is gone, I'm wondering how long has the ship got now? Because in all honesty, Borash was the cork. Yep. And the fact that he's gone, let's be honest, an Impact Wrestling lifer, literally ever since 2002, I don't know how long it's got. I think Callis and D'Amore can only do so much now.
So a couple of leaving. A couple of superstars leaving Impact.
Oh, right.
So Idris Abraham is officially gone.
Who?
Mario Baccara is officially gone, and
Bacara's gone.
And Casey Quinn. We have a story. She's gone.
Oh, her that basically traveled all the way, and it's like, oh yeah, we'll give you a shot. Yeah, 4 months later, fuck off.
No, that's MJ Jenkins.
Oh, okay. Which one's Casey then? Spinelli? The former Spinelli? The current Spinelli?
No. She's the redhead. Not Amber Nova, the other one.
I'm trying to remember. She hadn't been used much anyway, from what I remember.
No, not for a minute.
Is worth noting as well, the show with WrestlePro that they're combining with will be streaming on Impact's Twitch channel next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We probably won't be covering it because it'll probably be shit. And also, God, save me my notes. Please tell me there's another show that I could be watching instead. That's Ring of Honor taping. It's actually that's a Friday, isn't it? 9th. Oh, Freelance Wrestling's on powerbomb.tv. So yeah, watch that instead. Probably. Don't think there's anything else. Jesus, there's a load of matches. Don't think there's anything else in the news. I'm just having a quick look at the notes. Apparently there is a new opening video that's going to start tomorrow as well with this stuff. You know, with Impact. I don't know how that will go. In non-related TNA news, because I guess we're transitioning into the indies, please go to the WWN YouTube account because they've just uploaded Murinori Sawa versus Bryan Danielson for free. As a teaser to Sawa coming back for WrestleMania weekend. And also reminisce about Danielson. I guess the other big thing that's come out today, the rumor that WrestleMania 35 is going to be back at the MetLife in New Jersey. It's believed that and the Eagles Stadium, ironically, could be contenders as well, but it seems as if MetLife is the favorite, which you'd say is a little bit soon, considering WrestleMania 29, but it was 9 years between 24 and 33 for Orlando, wasn't it?
9 years? Yeah, that sounds about right.
And obviously, New Orleans was WrestleMania 30.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I think they went for 31 in San Francisco is because they could be the first thing in the new stadium before the football got there. And then where was 32?
MetLife. Well, sorry, AT&T, Texas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the shit about Arlington and the fact that nobody got in time.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
In the blazing hot sun, so people fainted. Brilliant. Now I remember. So, yeah. So, with the indies, I'm going to try and get through these as quick as possible. From results, I will go sort of in depth on the things that I did see. First of which was Guerrero de Titans from AAA. Holy fuck! This was a decent show that went utterly shit. So, Australian Suicide beat Lancelot to win the Cruiserweight title. Fabi Apache beat Lady Shani for the Reina de Reinas title. With Fabi Apache clearly being a heel now, even though she wrestled as a heel, but the crowd cheered her anyway because they didn't establish that she was a heel. And the great thing is, afterwards, apparently, she didn't think that everybody saw her as a face, even though they cheered. So who knows? Carter Bravo, Moko Kota Jr., and Tito Santana won the trios titles, getting them for a second time, beating Aerostar Drago and Raptor, Argenis Bengala, and Mascara de Bronze, and Averno, Chessman, and Superfly. Then the match between the Bull Terrier match, whatever that means, between Psycho Clown and Rhea Scorpion went to a no finish because Psycho Clown appeared to win by DQ, but Murder and Monster Clown ran in to sort of beat him down and sort of lead to it. The recap from AAA says no decision, so who knows? But then two masked men made the save and revealed themselves to be La Mascara and Maximo, reuniting the Brazos team. I think with Rey Scorpion, I don't know. The big deal is La Mascara and Maximo wrestled that same day for one of the Mexican promotions. I don't think it was CMLL, I'm not sure. But yeah, they literally, I guess, traveled as quick as they could in order to make it over for the actual angle. So then Dark Cuervo, Dark Scoria, and La Parca beat Dave the Clown, Monster Clown, and Murder Clown in a street fight. Then we got to the double main event. Holy fuck. So we had Dr. Wagner Jr. beat Johnny Mundo to win the AAA heavyweight title. The issue was the fact that Hernandez and El Hijo de Dr. Wagner's son, were the seconds. And of course, Vampiro's the special referee. With the younger Wagner betraying his father, attacking him, Vampiro, from behind, but then saying it was Hernandez that did it. And then he did it again later on. And then basically it got to a point where I think he ended the world and Mundo was about to sort of get the win because of the second referee, who's the heel referee. But Vamp basically came in to stop it. Beat up Wagner Jr.'s son. Gave Mundo a choke slam. Basically pulled Wagner on top of him and made the replacement referee count to 3. Even though he basically didn't do 3. Instead, Vampiro forced his hand down to make sure he counted 3. So I don't know whether that means Mundo's gone and that's how they're getting rid of him. I'm not sure. But dear Christ, it was more of a way of putting Vampiro over. Which, considering he's the booker, I'm pretty sure you're not really supposed to do that. You know, put yourself over as the main attraction. Thankfully, this wasn't the main event. Except when we got to the main event, dear God, it was fucking worse. Because it was El Hijo de Fantasma and Tejano Jr. in a cage match went to a double DQ. So El Hijo de Tarantes helped Tejano out 3 times during the match, and then Bengala, who was acknowledged as Tejano's brother, came out to counter, spitting water in his brother's face. Then all of a sudden Vampiro showed up and the commission showed up and stopped it, with Tejano being DQ'd for the interference from Tarantes and Bengala. So they all brawled away post-match. And then we led to Rey de Reyes, 4th of March. It's going to be a hair versus mask match with Tejano Jr. and El Hijo de Fantasma. Which, think about it. When did I say Rey de Reyes is happening?
I don't have that information in front of me.
March 4th. What month are they doing the Lucha Underground tapings?
I could look that up real quick.
March.
Yep, I think so.
So if we're going on Lucha Underground canon, either King Cuerno isn't going to have a mask, or for some reason Tejano's going to be bald with no explanation. That's going to be good. So who knows? We'll have to see. The main event stipulation shit hurt it, but thank God it actually was the main event, because up until the DQ shit, it made more sense than the Mundo Wagner, aka Vampiro Lovin', to happen as the main event. So yeah, it was a pretty big mess. Now, the interesting thing is, on the commentary, we had Hugo Savinovich and Jose Manuel Guilan call the show, not the usual announcers, because the idea is whatever this feed is will start airing apparently on the Space Channel this weekend. Mainly because it airs in Mexico and other Latin American countries, as well as in America, so it would give them sort of extra visibility. The great thing is, if you actually look at the TV listings, AAA isn't even listed to be airing this Friday. Oh, sorry, this Saturday. Donos. The Rev Pro Rumble, I haven't got any results for. However, I do have results from Fight Club Pro's cross-promotional Wrestle House show with Attack Pro Wrestling. At the start of the show, they announced that the third night of the Dream Tag Team Invitational Tournament will be happening at Birmingham's National Exhibition Centre, the NEC. They said the arena, although I'm not sure about that, because from what I can tell, it's part of the Insomnia Gaming Convention, which I went to a few years back. Tickets have already sold out for both the convention and the actual wrestling, so I didn't get a chance to sort of pick up on that. Also, anyway, because of the time and because it's Easter Sunday, traveling via train could have been problematic. So I sort of wasn't that hugely buzzed. Anyway, I can get the DVD like I did at Shikara this past year. And it will probably be cheaper because the DVD cost me 35 quid. I think that's a ticket for at least one night of the event. So it started off with the four-way match for the tag titles, with Bolarama retaining over the Session Mouse of Martina the Session Moth and the Love-Making Demon. Yes, that's a real character. The Anti-Fun Police of Los Ferradales Santos Jr. and Chief Deputy Dunn, and Nothing to Prove of Elijah and Drew Parker. Bolarama, by the way, is Split McPins and Lloyd Cat, because, we have to name them. Aussie Open and Mark Davis and Cole Fletcher beat Team Suplex of Zack Sabre Jr. and Angelico. El Fantasmo beat Adam Brooks. That obviously isn't El Heo de Fantasmo. That's a different one. Keith Lee beat Omari. But then, interestingly, Lee challenged Omari to a rubber match for the Infinity Trophy. So I don't know when that's going to be happening. Whether it will be... actually, come to think of it, I've sort of have a guess of when it will be. But it depends whether it clashes with WWN's WrestleMania plans, because Fight Club Pro are doing a WrestleMania weekend show in New Orleans. So if they could do it there, I don't know. We'll have to see. And then in the 10-person tag team elimination match, I don't know who was the sole survivor, but Chris Brooks, Jordan Devlin, Mark Haskins, Dan Maloney, and Chief Deputy Dunn's team beat Travis Banks, Clint Margera, Trent Seven, MK McKinnon, and Millie McKenzie. Apparently, during this match, Millie McKenzie got fucked up, which led to the fact that she actually was injured as well, so she couldn't face Toni Storm for the Progress Women's title. So they've had to get their third choice in. We'll get to that now, because the next one I'm covering is Progress's Fear No More Come to Dust at the Electric Ballroom. By the way, Owen's marking out that Chapter 69 is called Be Here Now. Don't know why.
Oh my God, it's so awesome. There's so many reasons why I like that, though.
They always reference songs or anything that they can to venues.
Well, I mean, for those of you that don't know, Oasis is my favorite band of all time. That's the first part of it. And I just appreciate the title. I think it's great. And I love the logo. I love how they're using the Oasis font and everything. And I mean, it's got a great location too. A nicely named warehouse in Manchester.
Yeah, but I mean, let's go through the history. So we had, I'm just going through. Chapter 3, we had 50 Shades of Pain. Chapter 4, Ballad of El Ligero. In their home at the garage in London. Chapter 5 was For Those About to Fight, We Salute You. The The Big Boys Guide to Strong Style. Every Saint Has a Past, Every Sinner Has a Future. Which was headlined by Dave Mastiff, Marty Scurll, and Paul Robinson versus Screw Indie Wrestling. That's a great tag team. Oh, hold me, thrill me, kick me, kill me. We're going to need a bigger room, which is when they moved to their new home at the Electric Ballroom in Camden rather than the garage in London. Chapter 14 saw the debut of the Thunder Bastard. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they aren't out to get you. The best one at the end of 2014, very, very, very breaky, 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 bishy, bishy. That's an actual name of a show. Harder, better, faster, stronger. I wonder where they got that from. Then the really good one, the show we can't call Progress Mania for legal reasons. Then the debut of the Super Strong Style. Then they did 4 shows over 5 days at Donington Park for the Download Festival. Thunder Bastard Beyond Thunder Bastard, because, you know, Mad Max. We don't like to use the sit-down gun. So I'm just looking. I can't remember some of these. Hit the North was the first one in Manchester. Unknown Pleasures was also up in Manchester. Chat Shit Get Banged. Please, please, please let me get what I want. Again in Manchester. All Hail the New Puritans. Malice in Wonderland. Writing Nirvana on other people's bags. We're going to need a bigger room again because that's when they were in the O2 Academy in Brixton. Life, the Universe, and Wrestling back from last year. Tropic Thunder Bastard. Old Man Yells at Cloud. I like to chill out here and shoot some dinosaurs. Screaming for Progress. Vote Pies. That was another Manchester one. La Danse Macabre. Enter Smiling. The one in Sheffield because of Arctic Monkeys. Whatever people say we are, that's what we're not. The Unboxing Live 2 was officially entitled Unbox Harder. Just in Birmingham, in reference to the streets they had, don't touch me, don't touch me. Their next show in Manchester next week is called Take Me Underground. And then Feeling called Progress as well in Sheffield. And Fourth Shade of Green in Birmingham. So again, they like referencing songs. So I don't know what they're gonna. The obvious one, if we're going Manchester, wouldn't. I guess they haven't done This Charming Man yet. I'm putting it out there, guys. Do something related to the Smiths. Where's the next one? Chapter 75 in August. Then again, they also announced this week they're doing 3 shows in Australia, co-promoting with a few promotions over there. So they're getting fucking crazy. And on top of the fact, of course, they're playing Wembley Arena. So yeah, the other stuff from this week. Sorry. On the pre-show, Never Say Die beat Team White Wolf. Then with the main show, Chris Ridgway beat Omari by submission to progress in the Natural Progression series. I'm a bit disappointed by. Roy Johnson beat Pastor William Eva. Worth noting, the pastor apparently tore his quad and dislocated his finger. So whatever plans that they had for Defiant Wrestling show, I have no clue what the fuck's going on. By the way, the Defiant show was a bit of a clusterfuck because, again, IPW took over, but because nobody knew who IPW were that were going to a Defiant show, it didn't make any sense. Travis Banks beat TK Cooper by submission. But then during the match, Cooper grabbed the title belt from Jim Smallman at ringside, which brought out Chris Brooks to the ringside area in a 3-way brawl between, I guess, sort of friends because of South Pacific Power Trip and CCK brawled. That's important when we get to. I think they've arranged that for a triple threat at next weekend's big show. Tony Storm beat Shakara. And then some sort of alliance between Ginny, Nina Samuels, and Shikara was formed, apparently. Even though Ginny was injured, whatever. Jimmy Havoc and Mark Haskins beat Mark Andrews and Danny Jones. Flash Morgan Webster beat Doug Williams by submission, which during the match, Vicky Haskins came to ringside, which allowed Flash to get the win. So if you've seen the Progress Wrestling video, I guess Vicky is the woman that walked in to be the influence for Flash to actually start on a winning streak. We'll see. And in the main event, Volta beat Timothy Thatcher to retain the Atlas title. And then Chapter 64 in February is officially titled Thunder Bastards A Go, because the Thunder Bastard is back. So Smash Wrestling, no results for that one from the We Built This City show. Shine 48, Amber Nova beat Chelsea Durbin in the Shine Sparkle match. Stormy Lee beat Tasha Price. Holly Dead beat Dynamite DD. Lever lost to Brandy Lauren, even though Lever was dressed up as Tracer from Overwatch, which means she wins the internet. Kira Hogan, Dementia DeRose, and Candy Cartwright beat Errol Monroe, Priscilla Kelly, and Vanessa Craven. Jordan Grace beat Natalia Markova, who cut a promo beforehand saying, you know, you need a Russian woman. You know, I'm disappointed with America. So she's basically doing Rusev's gimmick, except, you know, Rusev's popular. Santana beat Renee Michelle. Evilise and Mercedes Martinez retained the tag titles over Isla Dawn and Lady Chardonnay Darcy. And Lufisto, with the assistance of sort of some distractions of Stormy Lee attacking Tesha Price, who was in Reigns' corner, allowed Lufisto hit the gourd buster to get the win, and Reign and Stormy Lee got into a brawl. They announced that the next show will be in New York on March the 10th, and then Shine number 50 back in Ybor City on April the 27th. House of Hardcore, just to really confuse things with this show, by the way, with House of Hardcore, we had 9 matches in the Twitch TV title tournament. 9 first round matches. Do you see the problem with the math here, Owen?
Yeah.
So who knows? Swoggle beat Mike Mondo. Ken Doan of the Squad beat, or Kenny, I guess, beat Lisa Marie Veron. Ball James beat Eddie Kingston. Alex Reynolds beat Super Crazy. Crazy Steve beat Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Killer Cross beat Little Guido. Dan Maff beat Ace Romero. The non-title match here. Tommy Dreamer and Billy Gunn with Bully Ray, Blue Meanie, and the Sandman beat Joey Mercury and Nick Aldis with Shane Douglas. I think it was originally Bully Ray, and then the other 3 sort of dominated, and then Blue Meanie and Sandman came out because, you know, dub. Austin Aries beat Matt Riddle. This was an interesting one. It got to the time limit. They asked for 5 more minutes. They got it. It went to the time limit again. They asked for another 5 minutes. And then right as the bell rang, Aries got the brainbuster immediately on Riddle and got the win. It's a crazy shit there. Willie Mack beat Luchasaurus and Matt Cross in a triple threat. And then the main event saw Brian Cage beat the mystery man Sami Callihan to advance in the tournament. Second round of the 9 people in the quarterfinals will be March 24th again. Well, it says, March 23rd, even though they said March 24th on their House of Hardcore website. They've now changed it to the 23rd. Back at the ECW Arena. And then, so Beyond Wrestling, the Shikara Wrestle Factory Secret Show, the Spirit of 76. Jonathan Gresham defended his Independent Wrestling Championship against Mike Quackenbush, of all people. Then, interestingly, Stokely Halfway got on the mic and ran down the fact that Gresham beat him in his own arena. And Hot Wheels made the save. Maxwell Jacob Freeman won the Tournament for tomorrow's semi-finals match, beating Brandon Watts, Damian Smith, Jay Freddy, Josh Briggs, and Mike Werner, which means he'll now progress on to face Wheeler Yuta in the final, the rearranged final. John Silver beat Lufisto by ref stoppage. Afterwards, Silver tried to punt Lufisto, but she got up and smacked him with a Lariato. The Amityville Project of Dan Barry, Rex Lawson, Ryan Gallione beat Bill Carr, Brian Cage, and Carl the Beast. And then afterwards, Dickinson made the save and putting Brian Cage over and asking him and Bill Shield Carr to hit a few poses to buy time. He wants an opponent. Joey Janela comes out. Joey Janela beats him after Penelope Ford powerbomb Dickinson out the corner, because that's a thing. Martin Stone beat Flip Gordon. Orange Cassidy beat Hornswoggle after Swamp Monster unmasked and revealed that he was Chuck Taylor and dropped Swoggle with a pile driver. So wait, Swamp Monster was Chuck Taylor all along? But I've seen Chuck Taylor with Swamp Monster. Dun dun dun. EYFBO beat Hot Wheels of Tracy Williams and Wheeler Yuta by pinfall. AR Fox beat Tessa Blanchard. David Starr beat Matt Riddle. And then afterwards, he says that he's the ace of Beyond and gets to close out the shows. And tomorrow in Worcester, he and Tessa Blanchard are going to beat the hell out of Janelope and take his win back from the New Year show. So the pre-show, which was live on Powerbomb.tv and YouTube, had Matt Riddle beat AR Fox, Brian Cage over Josh Briggs, Flip Gordon beat Brandon Watts, Jonathan Gresham retaining the Powerbomb.tv independent wrestling title over Martin Stone by countout, and then calls out Hot Wheels out, promising repercussions. So then we get to the Women's Wrestling Revolution show, the 5-year plan event. Sonia Strong's in the ring to talk about her 3-month plan, saying that after she beats Jordan Grace, wins the Rumble, and beats Tenille Dashwood, she'll get her hands on Deonna Purrazzo. Sonia Strong then beat Jordan Grace with a handful of tights, admittedly. Tara Calloway beat Kennedy Copeland. Casey Catal, Chris Statlander, and Vanity beat Alexis Gillian Lee and Taylor Hendricks. Solo Darling beat Willow Nightingale. Lufisto went over Skylar. Holly Dead beat Delmi Exo. Stokely Hathaway then cut a promo saying that behind every great man there's a better woman, and welcomes Faye Jackson to the Dream Team. She then wins over Ali Rex. Team Adams of Tasha Steelz, Taryn Q, and Deonna Purrazzo beat Black and Blue of Vianette, Davien, and Belmont. Then David Starr does a whole pre-match promo saying that this is going to be a normal tag match and runs down the referee, and the referee admits that he made a mistake at the last show, but defends his positional authority as a referee. The great thing is this is clearly going to become an angle because Janelope won with the Janelope device on Blanchard despite Tessa's foot being on the ropes, which the referee didn't see. And basically Starr beat up the referee afterwards. And then the Revolutionary Rumble was won by Jordan Grace, last eliminating Sonia Strong, because we're keeping the angle there. So it'll be Jordan Grace versus Tenille Dashwood at the next show on March 25th. And then Shikara, which is a one that I did get to see as well. Oleg the Usurper beat Kobold with multiple off with his heads. Then Blank, the former Grace Jackson, who's now got a white mask like an S&M mask, issued a challenge to the Boar for National Pro Wrestling Day. And then some guy in the crowd said, "You're going to die!" So, not in like Zandig style, just like, is that a wise move? You're actually going to die. Travis Huckabee managed to win with a schoolboy on Gran Akuma, which Travis offered a handshake afterwards, but Akuma basically kicked him down. The Boar beat Cornelius Crummels in a pretty short squash match, and then afterwards accept Blank's challenge. Then with a 4-corner elimination tag, the Closers won it. They eliminated Des Peloton first with a deal breaker, then took out the Throwbacks who beat the Legion, the Throwbacks took out the Legion of Rot, and then the Closers defeated the Throwbacks with a big old moonsault by Roland on Dasher Hatfield. So the Closers now have 3 points. Afterwards, they did cut a promo saying Los Ice Cream's title reign will come to a close. Then when we came back from intermission, Lucas Calhoun came to the ring. Because the storyline is when he found out that he was a clone that was basically created by Professor Nicodemus, he thought there was no purpose to life and whatever. You know, he cut to the chase. Literally, I'm a clone. I'm a clone. And when he was confronted with the proof, he had to walk the earth to come to terms with it. And explained how he did it by describing it. It's like hearing your favorite part of your favorite song and feeling the emotions that causes inside you. This is proof that you have a soul. And he says that he has a soul, and that's proof that he's more than just a copy of somebody else. And now he has a purpose after watching that season 18 finale. Because he saw Professor Nicodemus turn up with his latest iteration of Science Monsters and do away with his best friend, Missile Assault Man. So he calls out Jeremy Leary and Leary says Calhoun sounds salty because he's the old model, while he is the new model. And Calhoun just says, I forgive you, because I understand your motivations. You know, brother, you're the next in line. That Leroy stole his identity so he'd have one of his own. But in inviting Nicodemus and his science monsters into Shikara, you messed up. You know, Leary is disposable to Nicodemus, just like Calhoun was. And he'll be replaced once Nicodemus comes up with a newer model. We are more than the byproducts of science experiments. We need to put a stop with this. You know, are you with me? And Leary sort of just looked at him, but then shook his hand and they left together. So who knows what that is. So then we had 17 versus Ophidian. The complicated issue behind this is Ophidian's the Whisper who took on the Ophidian persona, and 17 is the former Ophidian, using 17's old persona. Which, of course, led to chants throughout the match of break the fake. Now, the really interesting thing was the end. Because 17 basically just... It was pretty even. But then 17 was just like one step too far. Hit the Quack and Driver Classic on him. Ophidian pulled off his mask and threw it to him. And collapsed. And 17 / the real Ophidian's response was snapping his arm and hammering away. And then Bryce basically called it off as a referee stoppage, saying, you know, the Whisper Ophidian couldn't continue. 17's the winner. And afterwards, 17 put his mask back on and cut a promo and saying that he's the one true Ophidian, the one and only master of snake style. Times might have changed, but my motivations haven't, and there's one name left on the list to check off. National Pro Wrestling Day. He wants Frightmare. So we'll see. Then Oceana and Murloc beat the Hermit Crab and Cajun Crawdad. The big deal here is Oceania, the former Ashley Vox, basically is now heel. When she beat Murloc in the upset at the end of the last season's finale, he bowed down to her. So, of course, the angle is that somehow she has now this control. I don't know whether she's obtained part of the Eye of Tia if we're going on that angle. So, basically, Oceana got Murloc to beat the shit out of him. She tagged back in, and they sort of crawling back up onto their feet. So she just went, they're still moving, and tagged back out. So Murloc just destroyed them all even more. And then she went in with a top rope senton and locked in the real catch submission for the win, the fish hook, if you will. And afterwards, Murloc kneeled beside her and she demanded, bend the knee. And they did. So I guess House 7 Seas is back together. But, yeah. Oceana is the real matriarch of this feud. And then Juan Francisco de Coronado beat Hype Rockwell. despite the fact that there was a low blow which the referee didn't see because he was dealing with Coronado's flag, and Hype's arm fell 3 times. And then in the encore, Razorhawk beat Sonny DeFarge with a swanton. It is worth noting that Bryce Remsburg, who's the new director of fun, aka the guy that sort of runs the place, did nearly all the refereeing, apart from a new female referee that I don't recognize that did a couple of the matches as well. She did a good job, though, in what she did, I will say. Also, apparently, Dash's son is working ring crew. So I guess Dasher Jr. is showing up sometime. So this week, next Wednesday, Dragon Gate has their Kurikan Hall show. The interesting one is the International 6-man tag with Susumu, Yokozuka, Genki Horiguchi, and Jason Lee taking on Kagatora, Zachary Wentz, and Bandido. We've also got the Kotoka Road to Final in Tokyo with Gamma K-Ness and Kotoka versus Don Fuji, Yosuke Santamaria, and UT. There's a 3-way 6-man tag with Yamato, BB Hulk, Flamita, Haruki Doi, Benkei, and Masato Yoshino, and T-Hawk, El Lindemann, and Aita. And the Open the Dream Gate titles on the line with Masaki Mochizuki defending against KZ. I guess the big stuff, which I might be trying to catch tomorrow, 5-Star Wrestling finally shows up. You know, that UK promotion, Owen?
Oh, yeah.
That said they were going to do the whole load of shows and then cancelled it because they came up with the excuse, oh, well, they bombed the Manchester Arena, so we can't do it there. And delayed it by 6 months. So that's happening. There's some new belts designed by Leather Rebels, the London-based company. It is on supposedly Freeview TV in the UK, but if you can't get it, like me, they are airing it for free on Facebook as well. So I guess I'll be watching it that way. On the card, we've got PJ Black versus Brian Cage, Jack Jester taking on Jason Prime, aka the Primate, Moose versus Rampage Brown, the 5-Star Tag Team Tournament semi-finals. The Phoenix, Jody Fleisch, and El Ligero teaming up to take on Big Grizzly and Dave Mastiff. And then the Masters of Cool of Chris Masters and Carlito. Wow, they're back together. Versus Flex Money of Adam, Flex Maxted, and Charlie Sterling. The All-American, American Jake Hager takes on the English Lion Eddie Ryan. Rey Mysterio goes one-on-one with Zach Gibson. That's going to be fascinating. And then the double main event to crown the first 5-Star Wrestling Tap or Snap champion. So basically, it's a submission match. Except this one is a submission, because of tap or snap. So yeah, it's a submission-based title. But just to be really put it in the mix, this is a 5-way match with BT Gunn, Flash Morgan Webster, Mark Haskins, Nathan Cruz, and Joey Axel. So that's confusing. And then also, because apparently these are the 2 top guys in the world, John Morrison takes on Rob Van Dam for the 5-star title. The really confusing thing with this is they're practically doing a show every single week, bar a couple of weeks, for the next month or 2 at least. So who knows what sort of a clusterfuck that's going to be. Let's get our hopes up. Southside Wrestling. This Saturday. In the afternoon, they're going to be having a meet and greet with Joseph Connors, El Ligero, Bad Bones, Stevie Boy, Gabriel Kidd, and Casey Owens. Then in the evening, they move from the Market Square, along with the other guys, to the Gordon Craig Theatre in Stevenage with Raw Deal 7. On this one, we got Stevie Boy defending the Speed King title against Shax. The final qualifying spot for the Speed King tournament is open, with it up for contention by Andrew Everett, Chris Tyler, Sean Custom, Brady Phillips, RKJ, and Gabriel Kidd. The UK Hooligans face GBH of Kip Sabian and whoever it is. Jimmy Jacobs 1-on-1 with Robbie X in his return. James Storm takes on Big Grizzly. Triple threat tag action with Connors and Ligero facing the Hunter Brothers and the 198. MVP takes on Bad Bones in a number one contenders match. And then in what I'd say is a big old coup, Casey Owens faces Gail Kim in Gail Kim's final match ever. So yes, her final match isn't in America. It isn't in Canada. It's in Stevenage in the UK. Not to say it's random, but it's a little random, isn't it?
I'd say so.
Tickets are still available for that, though, if you do want to catch it. Rev Pro, I think the show's sold out now, the Cockpit show, so you'll have to get it on demand. The match is confirmed so far. El Phantasmo versus Adam Brooks. Josh Bodom taking on Eddie Dennis. Aussie Open takes on the Legion of Lords. Speedball Mike Bailey versus David Starr. Sami Zayn versus Nina Samuels. Curtis Chapman defends the Cruiserweight title against Ryan Smile. And Zack Sabre Jr. taking on Travis Banks. That should be a very solid match. This Saturday and Sunday, Over the Top Wrestling has its homecoming weekend in Dublin and Belfast. Saturday is Dublin with Ryan Smile versus Trent Seven, Mark Haskins versus Adam Brooks, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Travis Banks. Oh, they're doing it again, except, the day before. Keith Lee taking on Speedball Mike Bailey. The Steel Cage 6-man tag team match with the Kings of the North taking on the Rapture. The gender neutral title will be on the line in a 4-way as Martina the Session Moth takes on Chuck Taylor, B Cool, and Angel Cruz. And the No Limits title is on the line in a steel cage match as well, with Jordan Devlin defending against Timothy Thatcher. The following night, they're going to go Belfast at Mandela Hall. The only matches for this one that I can see so far confirmed are Keith Lee versus Timothy Thatcher, Mark Haskins taking on Chucky T, and Tucker versus Curtis Murray. More will be added, obviously, over the weekend, but I think both those shows are sold out, so again, you can't go to them. But I think they're going to be on demand for Over the Top very soon. And then Progress next Wednesday, hence why I don't have very much details on it. Have their Live at the Dome show, which I'm guessing this is their new annual sort of monthly, giving some of the developmental guys, at least in Progress, a chance, along with other people that are in the that were available. So they've just added within the last few hours Chuck Mambo versus Adam Brooks to what we've already got of Sid Scala versus Danny Duggan, and also a natural progression series qualifier with the collision of Aussie Open with Mark Davis taking on Kyle Fletcher. We've got the Full Impact Pro Show from WWN being headlined by, I guess, I might as well run through them all because I've only got 6 matches confirmed so far. Rhett Giddings versus Alex Rudolph, Snoop Strikes, Save El Saba, Blanco Loco, and Darius Lockhart in a Force Count Anywhere match. And then 4 title matches. Priscilla Kelly defending the Shine Nova title against ACR. The tag titles up the grabs of the Hooligans of the Cutter Brothers take on the End of Odinson and Paro. The Florida Heritage title up for grabs as John Davis defends against Darby Allin. And then the heavyweight title as well on the line as Austin Theory defends against Martin Stone. The following night, that show's at the Orpheum anyway in Ybor City, sorry. On Saturday at Port Rishi, ACW, American Combat Wrestling, has My Bloody Valentine. The 2 matches only confirmed so far. Mitch Mitchell defending the heavyweight title against Omar Amir, and Francisco Ciazzo versus Josh Hess with Sir Gabriel Lacey and Wench Stormy Lee. Is she a wench? Let me get confirmation on that. I don't know. Defy Wrestling up in Seattle. I think this one again is sold out, but it looks like a pretty stacked card. We've got Shane Strickland defending the Defy title against Matt Sydal. We've also got Brody King versus ACH. Joey Janela taking on Randy Myers. Hawley Lane taking on Nicole Matthews. And then the Defy to Survive 10-man elimination match featuring Clark Connors, Nick Bradford, Kane Jaden, King Cash, Rosas, Armistice Spencer, Cody June, The Catch, Sonico, and Big Jack. The deal is it's a 10-person blind 5 versus 5 elimination match. Like, they draw as to which side they're going to be on and everything. And it's sort of, in that case, sort of like a Cybernetico, except it isn't 7-on-7, because if more than one member of the winning team's left, they must face each other for survival until there's one sole survivor, hence the Defy to Survive tagline and whatever. Alpha One has the Sands of Time show this Saturday afternoon. This one is a pretty strong card, I will say, for a show in they're actually in Oshawa, not in their usual home of Hamilton. The Alpha One tag titles up for grabs, with Western Med Connection defending against the Meme Team. Shane Saber puts the Zero Gravity title up for grabs in a 4-way over Wheeler Yuta, BMD, and Daniels. The Southside World title is also up on the line as Ethan Page defends against Alessandro Del Bruno. We've got a women's match, the Alpha Female division, if you want to call it that. Beautiful B taking on Felicity. Ricky Shane Page puts the Alpha Male title on the line against Steve Brown. And then two of the best in Canada as there is right now, Josh Alexander and Kobe Durst, are going to be having a 60-minute Iron Man match. Wow. Something I forgot to mention from seeing the stuff this past weekend, Owen. Ethan Page is heading to DDT. I dread to think what he's going to do if that Japanese guy tries to, like, rape him in the bum. Because apparently that's still a thing, because he was doing it while Joey Ryan was trying to be serious and wanting Colt Cabana. If that ever aired over here, that'd seriously be sort of like, yeah, you can't do that, son. House of Glory, I think, still got a few tickets left for their show in Jamaica, New York at the NYC Arena. Beware the Fury. We got Santana and Ortiz of LAX defending the tag titles against mystery opponents. A three-way grudge match between Ken Broadway, Matt Travis, and Leroy Green. Sonya Style versus Evilise in a women's showcase. Evander James defending the Crown Jewel title against Homicide. And then, I guess, because Amazing Red is basically, as soon as he loses the title, he's retiring or something, I think. Amazing Red defends the title against Loki. Ooh, that might be fun. Getting flashbacks to Impact there, won't we? I guess. And then the final one to cover, AAW's Chaos Theory. I believe there's still some tickets left for Saturday night, the Knights of Columbus Hall in LaSalle, Illinois. In this one, we got an Earn Your Spot Mayhem match featuring Donovan Danhausen, Dante Leon, Space Monkey, Ace Romero, Sage Kanan, and Gringo Loco. Trey Miguel one-on-one with Myron Reed. Connor Braxton and Brubaker faced a tag team of Mike Hart and Baron Cody Rice. In another tag team bout, we've got Zero Gravity versus OI4K. Matt Riddle one-on-one with Sammy Callahan. Shane Strickland taking on Trevor Lee. Penta versus Eddie Kingston. God, that could be physical. Jeff Cobb versus AR Fox. That could be physical. Jessica Havoc defending the women's title against Rosemary. Yep, still physical. And Ray Phoenix versus ACH. Oh, are they going to give ACH the rub? Which, considering when are their next shows? I guess they got a show February 17th, so they could change it there. But depending on if Phoenix is part of Lucha Underground, I don't know whether we could take part in the March 16th show. So we'll have to see. But yeah, that's all the stuff coming up. And then thankfully we don't have as many, by the looks of it, lined up for next week. We do get somewhat of a break. But we've still got some big promotions next week. CZW's first show of the year. Ring of Honor. I think that's the final. I think they're doing the center stage is the tapings, isn't it? From what I remember.
Yep.
That'll be the final set of tapings before we head into the anniversary show. Even though they are doing a couple of house shows towards the end of February as well. So yeah, a few big shows coming next week, which we'll cover next week. Da da da.
All right, that's your show tonight. So once again, thanks everyone for joining us live or in archive. Ashley, where can you find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter at AshesMyNameUK, where you can see me tweet about EA and the bloody microtransactions, damn it.
So today's video is up in the air. Exactly, not sure what it's going to be yet. It could be a sip and snack, or it could potentially be something else. Because I got some video footage last night of the brand new lights at Hogwarts Castle projection show. So I got that. So that may go up tomorrow, or it may go up later this weekend. We'll see what happens. AJ content returns this weekend, of course, with AJ's movie reviews and verses. And we still got looming on the horizon our Oscar nomination reaction podcast, and also BAFTA podcast coming soon, and Spirit Awards podcast coming soon. 2 of those, actually, and then the big one to end the year for the award season.
I think it's also official. It's official, Owen. I might actually be wearing black for the BAFTAs.
There you go.
It might be a British Strong Style or a Fight Club Pro or a Bullet Club shirt, but it's still going to be black.
Nothing wrong with that.
I stand in solidarity with Gary Oldman. That's where I would put the sounder in, but I can't be asked to because it's 6 a.m.
All right, that's your show. Like I said, once again, in a world where there are a billion wrestling podcasts, we're very pleased that once more tonight you have chosen a Popcast. Well, thank everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. Follow me on Twitter at Sro and Disney. Follow the network at Popcast Network. Check out our Facebook fan page at Popcast Network. Thanks again for everyone that has helped us get to over. I can't believe we're over 400,000 views on this network. It's insane.
Woo!
Blows my mind. So thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
Also, I lied. Hopefully. Got it!